Hey brother, Ben. So if you couldn't tell from the title or from my shirt, I am super excited today because today we are talking Frozen theory. 2 Frozen theories, in fact. What exactly does happen to snow in summer? And who is the real prince of Arendelle? Spoiler alert! Duh. Alright, let's get to the bottom of this. What really happens to snow in summer? It melts. Mind blown. But Ben, if you thought that was crazy, we are just getting started. Now, with Frozen being as popular as it is, and the internet being, well, the internet, I feel like most of you are probably familiar with the whole Frozen, Tangled, Little Mermaid theory by now, right? If you're not, well, no worries, I'll fill you in. So, at the beginning of Frozen, we see Elsa and Anna's parents head off on a 2-week journey to somewhere. This journey happens roughly 3 years before the rest of the events in the movie. Now, that 3 years is important because back here in the real world, like where we live, Disney released another movie 3 years prior to Frozen. Tangled. And what happens at the end of Tangled? Rapunzel and Flynn get married, of course. A wedding? I love weddings. Drinks all around. Name that movie. But it's not just any wedding, Ben. It's a royal wedding, which means that any other royal people in nearby countries would be very likely to attend. So, happening at the same time, we have a royal wedding and royal people on a journey to somewhere, which means that it is totally possible that Anna and Elsa's parents die on the way to Flynn and Rapunzel's wedding. But wait a second, you said nearby countries. How do we know that Arendelle and Frozen and Corona and Tangled are even close to each other? Fair enough, but okay, let's figure out the geography. Look at Frozen. If you saw the movie, you could not have missed their very liberal use of the word fjord. Probably because fjord is hilarious to say, and it's spelled F-J-O-R-D. Fjord, 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 fjord! Word has lost all meaning. Actually, it hasn't. If you don't know what a fjord is, it's a narrow inlet with steep cliffs or walls. And the country with the most famous fjords, whose climate and scenery, I think you will agree, look a whole lot like Arendelle, is Norway. Corona is a little bit trickier, with creators even having said that it exists nowhere because they drew it from so many influences. But we're not gonna stand for that on this channel, I'll tell you that. Based on the architecture, landscape, nature, and clothes that they're wearing in the movie, and the fact that it's a German fairy tale to begin with, almost all point to the fact that Corona is in Germany. Full article on this argument down in the description. And after a quick look at the map, oh, how convenient. It looks like Germany is a quick trip across the North Sea from Norway. And I don't know how fast those old wooden boats sail, but to me, that looks about like a 2-week round trip. Awesome. Timing matches up, geography matches up. Those parents so died on the way to that wedding. Makes me so happy. Wait, hold on. Just because the timing and the geography matches up doesn't mean they necessarily exist in the same universe just because they were created by Disney. I mean, there's no real proof that they exist in the same world, is there? Actually, there is. The casual observer may have missed it, but there is a pair at Elsa's coronation who happens to be none other than Rapunzel and Flynn. Boom, universe is connected. Besides, if you were Rapunzel and Flynn and Elsa and Anna's parents had died on the way to your wedding, wouldn't you feel like somewhat obliged to go to Elsa's coronation? So wait though, how does the Little Mermaid tie in? Well, the geography on the Little Mermaid is a little bit trickier, but it is a fairy tale from Denmark, and there is a statue of the Little Mermaid in Copenhagen, so let's go with Denmark. Now, it might have been some time since you saw the Little Mermaid, but you may recall Ariel swimming around a sunken ship looking for thingamabobs. Thingamabobs? I've got 20. Wait a minute. Sunken ship? Let's have a look at that map again. Oh my god! Ariel is plundering the ship of the dead parents of Elsa and Anna on their way to Flynn and Rapunzel's wedding. Or is she? Ben, in a recent post on Reddit, writer and director of Frozen, Jennifer Lee, confirms that according to her co-director, Chris Buck, the parents were indeed on their way to a wedding. However, they did not die right away. First, they shipwrecked on an island, had a baby boy, built a treehouse, and then were eaten by a leopard. Huh. That's oddly graphic and specific and familiar. Think hard. Who else in the Disney universe has parents that were shipwrecked on an island, built a treehouse, and then were eaten by a leopard? That's right. The true Prince of Arendelle is none other than Tarzan. That is awesome. But you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, who is this Chris Buck guy to be making up backstories for the parents in Tarzan? Well, it just so happens that Chris Buck is none other than the director of Tarzan. Plus, look at the side-by-side comparison of the parents in Tarzan and Frozen. Yeah, the hair color is a little off, the animation is different, but I think that at least the hair length is to be expected after you've been at sea for 9 months. Plus, the facial structure is strikingly similar, and 9 months kind of makes sense, because Tarzan happens in Africa, so they would have to have been at sea for a very long time to get shipwrecked there. Ben, I didn't think Frozen could get any better, and it did. My question for you and everyone else is, do you think it's true? Is Tarzan, King of the Jungle, also Prince of Arendelle? And could the Little Mermaid still work into this somehow? I mean, I don't know, Ben, you're the tropical fish expert. You tell me where those fish exist. I have no idea. Let me know down in the towel section below, and I will see you in another life, brother. Also, I know I said I was going to do an Ask Jay this week. I'm just going to push it to next week. But if you enjoyed this video and would like to see any of the other theories we've done here on Super Carlin Brothers, just click down on the grizzly eagle shark in the corner. It will take you to a playlist I just created of all of our theories. And if you'd like a full article that goes a little more in-depth into this particular theory, I will leave a link down to moviepilot.com in the description. Thanks!